one go. Hi, my name is Joshua Collins, and today I'm going to be talking to you about autism acceptance. So what exactly is autism acceptance? Well, we're all pretty familiar with autism awareness. We've probably have seen individuals with autism, and we've probably heard about individuals with autism spectrum disorder. But what we're trying to lean more towards now is autism acceptance, in that we accept individuals with ASD, and we have a better understanding of their disability. Now, I currently work in the special education program at a local high school. I work closely with students who have ASD, and I also have a nephew with autism. I've done research to better further my career and also help my nephew with his development. So what is autism? Autism is a neurological development disorder that affects about 1 in 36 children. The CDC estimates that about 5 million Americans have autism. We live with them, we work with them. Somebody that we know or love, like me and my nephew, might have autism. It's important to note that autism cannot be outgrown. It's something that an individual has for the entirety of life. So autism has a very interesting history. Let's explore some of it. So autism was formally diagnosed in 1911 by Swiss psychiatrist Paul Eugene Buehler. Paul Eugene Buehler speculated that autism was early childhood schizophrenia. So as you can see in the beginning how there were some misconceptions surrounding autism. Also, another important figure is Hans Asperger. Hans Asperger was an Austrian psychiatrist who published a study in 1944 linking children with autism to genetics. He also played a major factor in the low function and high functioning rating system, which we have now phased out. You're also probably familiar with his last name. The syndrome, Asperger syndrome, is named after him. We've also phased that out. In the beginning, the history of autism is pretty rocky, but it does get better. In 1965, the Silber Elgar School began taking care of and teaching students with autism. This would lay the groundwork for special education, which I'll get more in depth with later on. Also in the 90s, individuals with autism were included in the Individuals with Disabilities Act, otherwise known as IDEA, that provide them with educational material and support. Also in the 90s, we began moving more towards the infinity symbol as opposed to the more familiar puzzle piece symbol. While people who sport the puzzle piece symbol and organizations that sport it might have good intentions, it's important to note that the puzzle piece is linked with people with autism being incomplete in organizations that want to cure autism, which I'll talk more about later. But let's explore special education and the impact that it's had on autism. As I stated before, I currently work in the special education program, and I work closely with individuals with autism. Now, part of my job is I take them to class, I work with them in general education setting along with students who don't have any disabilities. And this is so much different and so much better than how it used to be when I was in school. When I was in school, we never saw students with disabilities in the special education program. Typically, they were confined to one classroom and one teacher. But now we're moving towards more inclusive environments where students with special needs, ASD, autism, are interacting with students without disabilities in the general education setting. This is important for both. Individuals with autism can better further their communication skills, and people within the general education can be better exposed to it and be more accepting and understanding. So we've explored special education and the great impact that it's had. Now let's talk about some of the discrimination faced by individuals with autism and some of the organizations that help combat it. So firstly, I'm going to talk about Autism Speaks. Autism Speaks is a very controversial group, as they're a group that in the beginning wanted to cure autism. Like I stated earlier, autism isn't something that can be cured or outgrown. It's something that a person has for their whole life. So it's more important to think about support. Also, people with autism are more subjected to bullying and harassment. This can be detrimental to their development. So let's explore some of the organizations that want to help people with autism. So we have the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, and we also have the Autism Society of America. The Autism Society of America was started by families who have students and children with autism. They provide resources and support for individuals with ASD. The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network also provides resources and support, but it also advocates for changes in law to fight against discrimination against people with ASD in the legal system. It's also worth noting that ASAN was started by and is ran by individuals with autism. The Autism Self-Advocacy Network also started Autism Acceptance Month in 2011. The color associated with Autism Acceptance Month is blue. Blue is a very calm, very familiar color. So now that we've explored some of the organizations that help support autism and some of the hate groups, let's explore celebrities that you might not have known had autism. So starting off, we have Susan Boyle. Susan Boyle in 2009 shocked the world when she auditioned for Britain's Got Talent. She walked out on stage and was immediately faced with judgment for how she looked. But then she shocked the audience when she sang I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables. After her stunning performance on Britain's Got Talent, she went on to cover many albums, and she thanks her autism for her motivation for being able to overcome it. As a child, Susan faced a lot of bullying. She was called Simple Susie, and she thought that she had brain damage. She was actually relieved when she found out that she had autism. Now, another celebrity you might not have known had autism is, who are you gonna call? Dan Aykroyd, the one and only Ghostbuster. So Dan Aykroyd discovered that he had autism in the 1980s when his wife urged him to seek help for his mental condition. So it's worth noting that as a child, symptoms of his autism spectrum disorder was that he had obsessions with certain subjects. In particular, he was obsessed with ghosts and police officers. You can kind of see where I'm going with this. Dan Aykroyd believes that his autism led to the creativity that made him come up with Ghostbusters. Another person who is speculated to have autism, I say the word speculated, is Albert Einstein. Now, it's worth noting that Albert Einstein was never formally diagnosed with autism. However, studies at Harvard and professors believe strongly that he did have autism, as he displayed strong signs of it. He gave awkward lectures, and he had a lot of trouble communicating. Albert Einstein would go to change the world. He made strong contributions to the scientific field. It's important that we come to accept people with autism, as they can give a lot back to the world. And if we shut them out, they might not be able to spread their gift with us. Thank you.